Hey friends, today I'm going to be uncovering the ring. Most of you who have clicked this video have probably seen the 2002 version featuring Naomi Watts as the main protagonist. The film is directed by Gore Verbinski, and as many of us know, The Ring is the adaptation of the Japanese version RINGU. And RINGU is the film adaptation of the novel by Koji Suzuki. The Ring series, even if you haven't seen the Japanese adaptation, is one of, if not the most famous Asian horror film in the world. I'm sure almost everyone who has clicked this video knows the premise of The Ring. Rachel finds a cursed videotape that gives anyone who watches it only 7 days left to live, until they are killed at the hands of Samara, who climbs up a well and crawls out of the television to attack the victim. Many of us who have watched this film will never forget the disturbing images of the videotape, the well, and of course Samara. But as far as anyone is concerned, no one has actually died watching the tape, and The Ring is nothing more than a film. Or is it? The Ring, as mentioned previously, it's common knowledge that The Ring most of us have watched is a westernized version of RINGU. But little do people know is that many of the events that happen in The Ring are inspired by real life. So sit back, turn off the lights, no hiding in the comment section. We're going full screen to make things easier. We're going to be calling Samara by her Japanese name Sarako. In the film, Sarako is the main antagonist, depicted as a very vengeful ghost seeking to kill after being wrongfully thrown into a well throughout Sadako's childhood. She's heavily experimented on and is proven to have psychic abilities, and can show others what she wants them to see. She also has the ability to burn her thoughts onto physical objects, such as the tree burned on the wall, or most importantly, the videotape itself. The books go heavily into the science experiments performed on her as well. With all that being said, this isn't something that the writer just made up. Let's look back in the early 20th century. There was a psychologist whose name was Tamakichi Fukurai, an associate professor at Tokyo Imperial University. His obsession with clairvoyance and spiritualism was so taboo that he was forced out of the university in 1913. His work was called the Fukurai Affair, amongst other psychologists, and they refused to document any of his research in textbooks. His name and work is still viewed as taboo in psychology today, but why? Well, simply put, he believed in hypnosis, and he is obsessed with a thing called photography, which is an ability to burn images from one's mind onto a surface. Sound familiar? And he believed it at a level that completely disregarded standard scientific methods, so his colleagues told him to basically get the hell out. But that didn't stop him though, so he continued to heavily perform his research on 3 clients. Their names were Chisiko, Ikuko, and Sarako. Dr. Fukurai was more than convinced that these women were all the proof he needed to support his beliefs on photography. One in particular interested him the most, Sadako. The writer of The Ring took this case and created Sarako Yamamura, aka Samara. Morgan, the writer, also used Chisiko Mifune, the other client that was used in the experiments, as inspiration for Sarko's mother in the movie Chizugal. And now, the well. Where does that come from? Well, here's the story. The well itself is inspired by an actual well in Japan called Okika's Well. It's located at the base of Himeji Castle in Hyogo Prefecture in Japan, and the story surrounding the well is one of the oldest in Japan, and it's no pretty one. This is the story of Okiku. Okiku was a servant who worked beneath the castle in the dungeon under a samurai named Tezen Aoyama. He was said to have fallen madly in love with her and even promised to leave his wife for her if she agrees to go with him. Okiku refused him and continued with her. One of her prime duties was to take care of the samurai's 10 valuable golden plates. One day, Aoyama, still angered by her rejection, decided to hide one of the plates and threatened to put the blame on Okiku for stealing it. If she didn't go with him, Okiku still refused. Now there's 2 versions of the ending. In one, Okiku was so distressed at the situation that she threw herself down the well. In another, it's said that he threw her down the well for rejecting him. Either way, Okiku's life ended in anger and betrayal. It was said that at night she would wake up and haunt the samurai while in his bed and start counting the golden plates again. Ikamai, Nime, Sanmai, Yanmai, Gomai, Rokumai, Nanamai, Hachime. She would yell out in anger before reaching 10 and go back to the well. Okiku continued to haunt the samurai every night this way until he went insane. Now I did see a website of someone who did take photos at Ameji Castle and tried to see if they could look down the well, and they claimed to have seen a sort of tunnel. There's theories that say that the well was either an escape route from the castle or a drainage, and that the folklore was created to keep people out of it. Funny enough, they also saw lots of money and that someone threw it down the well, so maybe someone should go down there and collect it all. It might be enough to pay for that 10th golden plate. Jokes aside, a sign not too far from the well does discuss the folklore's connection to the well, and this tale becoming the inspiration for the ring. So what about the tape? Is that real? Well, unsurprisingly no, that part was something that the writer did make for the story. The Ring is the story we all know and love. Sometimes I do wonder though, if the Ring was real, how would it play out today with social media and the internet, because no one watches VHS anymore. By this point I feel like Samara's Ring video might actually become a meme on the internet if it were real. If it were so, that is the Ring and its background. If you ask anyone in Japan about Okiku's well, more than likely they'll tell you to go to Ameji's castle. There's some speculation that it's in other parts of Japan, but we'll never know. And now the story ends this case with a confirmation Sorako was real to some extent, the well was real to some extent, and as far as a cursed video, no reports of that. But my research did point towards this channel and this video that unless you share and like this video as fast as possible, you too will die in 7 days.